Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Too Many Men, your post-American Thanksgiving episode. We took the holiday off, but here we are. My name is Alison Lucan, and we're here on the eve of perhaps one of the most important holidays of all. Who needs Thanksgiving when it is the anniversary of the arrival of one of the most tremendous, phenomenal, brilliant, gorgeous human beings to walk this earth? Join me, please, on this beautiful Thursday in saying, Happy motherfucking birthday, Sarah Sivian. How are you?
I'm great now. You always bring such a joy to my day. I wish we did a Thanksgiving episode so I could have heard your encouraging words, but really, they really make my day. Thank you.
Your big birthday plans. You don't have to tell us details, but are you excited?
I am very excited because I nobody give me gifts, please. I said to all my friends, you have to say three nice things about me to get into the place that we're going, and
Aw,
one piece of gossip
I love
this
that.
about
is so
myself,
good.
preferably. But if we don't have that, then like anything will do.
Well, and I will say, while you're not getting gifts, we all got a gift from you because this week, Substack is just some of your most brilliant work ever.
My God.
I literally, first of all, Vegas, I was like, girl. And then Minnesota, I laughed out loud. So
I'm glad.
genius
I'm glad somebody
persist.
else, that was so self-indulgent of me because I love 90s music, but I'm glad people did I know my demographic? We're in like the 30s to 40s, so I'm glad it was a hit.
It was a hit. And someone who is also a hit, not just on basically every major national radio podcast network that's worth listening to, and even some that aren't, but she gives them a little bit of her time. And she's back with the upcycles, people. Get on it. That means new Too Many Men merch can't be far behind. It is the gorgeous, also off the air giving me fashion tips, incredible Shayna Goldman. Shayna, say hi.
Hi. I mean, these intros every week, it's like, how do you want to get going? Do you want like a take a shot of espresso, get ready for the pot? No, no, no. I just need like 30 seconds of Alison Lucan pumping us up and I'm like ready to rip.
Well, it's easy with the two of you. You're my two favorites. I love you to pieces. Love you to pieces. And you know what else we love to pieces, Sarah? Tell us.
Sometimes we love It's O News.
News. Here we are. I can't see now. I'm like bringing in such new heights. I can't. I got to stop.
We need like
Okay.
a kazoo.
It, no, respectfully, who is it? Ottawa, Shayna, that does the kazoos?
Oh.
Oh, maybe we
No.
should get a triangle.
Why would we get a triangle?
They need more
It's
cowbell.
That would be cute. I'm just trying to think of something different and unique. Like,
well, we have
it's
our
like,
drums,
we do
courtesy
have
of
drums.
Benny Drawbars, but
I don't know. It's like it's time for bit on news. Instead of like, you take a champagne glass and you hit it with a knife, like you do a little triangle. New twist. You're gonna go to parties and bring a triangle.
do not send Shayna a triangle, please.
Someone send me a triangle. No, actually don't. Please, please don't. The dogs will
um,
hate me.
all right, it is Biddo news time, and maybe we should reframe this segment for this season to Biddo breaks. Like this season is the season of injuries, y'all. I'm gonna ask you a global question first, and we'll just riff, and either of you can go first on this. Like, I feel like people are starting to realize that this schedule was a mistake. Like everyone's getting hurt. Thoughts,
Can I say something woke too?
please.
That I'm not sure. It's just like a theory, but the NBA is having more injuries than ever too, and I think a lot of people have long COVID. Like I think
Interesting.
that's part of it. I think people are
Jonathan Tays,
habitually
let us know.
sicker. Yeah, I think people are sicker and not knowing it, and I think people are a little bit weaker, and and people are exhausted by the state of the world, anyways. Maybe even
Mm.
if they don't know it or think that they are, and I don't know if that has like that much to do with it, but I do think we're seeing more injuries across every sport, and it's a huge thing in NBA discourse right now, especially with torn Achilles, and that's horrible. You don't want to
Mm.
have that, but like it the schedule is a problem here with the back. They don't even have back to backs in the NBA, so like it's it's not great, Bob.
Existential crisis. or too many games at the same time, Shayna? What say you about the state of the league when it comes to like literally 806 people being hurt?
It's a little of everything, right? Because like some of these are non-hockey injuries and those are
We'll get to
absolutely wild.
those.
Well, yeah, we'll
Oh,
get there.
well, there's that.
Can't bring that. It's like every week we have another one somehow. But also like I do wonder how much like off-season training goes into this and like players are training harder than ever and rightfully so because like especially in a season like this, like your stamina has to be completely perfect if you're going to make it through this kind of schedule, then the Olympics, then come back, the playoffs, everything and more like it's like hurry up and run this marathon that's actually a sprint the entire time. So I do wonder about that, and this is like I'm back to being a conspiracy theorist, but I was like thinking a lot about like baseball injuries and how like we were seeing pitchers get injuries they never got before because now they're training differently, and I feel like it's the same thing for goalies. So I wonder if maybe that's part of it, but I think the schedule has a lot to do with it. It's such a weird year. Everything about this season is just so odd, but I'm sure the NHL is like, yes, it's the Olympics. The Olympics is at fault for everything because like they aren't thrilled about it. And I do understand because players also get hurt at the Olympics, but if they're getting hurt before the Olympics because of the schedule, you blame the Olympics, not the people who made the schedule and the league itself for doing it this way instead of, I don't know, starting a week earlier and spacing things out a little differently. Who's to say? But it's messy.
I love that we're 5 minutes in and we're already doing woke and conspiracies. So what else do we have in store today?
I feel like we'll have more of both, honestly.
Yes, yeah.
That's a too many men brand right there.
We're getting tin hats.
Oh
Someone's
my
gonna
God.
make us
New
tin
merch.
hats and triangles.
Oh my God. All right, so let's get into some of these, and I'm going to do an instant personal self ranking of. Let's start with one that I actually do think is related to strict overuse and overplaying, and this is not a reflection on the player, but just because I do like I hate it because we all know the players want the Olympics, and I think we all want to see the Olympics on apparently a postage stamp of an ice rink, but here we are. But this one was perhaps, even though there was some off ice, which we will get to, this one was really bizarre. And it's Tyson Forrester goes down and he's out 2 to 3 months after getting injured while taking a slap shot. I didn't see this live, so I had to go back and watch it. And like, again, no one touches him. It's nothing weird. It's just apparently something in his upper body gives out, and now he's out for months. Sarah, thoughts?
That sucks. I mean, I can see that happening with an overuse. Yeah, like you said, overuse injury that I've been lifting a lot recently and I'm like, my wrist is starting to hurt. The one false move, I mean, Tiger Woods, right? Like the one thing can kind of take you out with your upper body, especially. So that sucks. But yeah, maybe people should try less and do less.
Shayna, did you see this live later? And what is your make on it?
Saw it on replay. I think anytime you see anything non-contact, it's that much worse. Like
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
it's
yeah.
bad in the moment. I feel like that goes across like every single sport. You just like I'm so glad in hockey it's not like, in football when you see something like snap in someone's like leg or whatever, they like zoom in and it's like even if it's a muscular thing, they're like, look at the reverberation on. They're like, I'm so glad we didn't have to go through all of that. And there's long sleeve jerseys because like I don't need to see that. It's unfortunate for him. I feel like Forrester has been a lot better as of late. He's kind of a streaky scorer and like is only in the beginning of his career, but I think he could be a really promising forward for the Flyers. So it's unfortunate for them. It's unfortunate for him. But like you see freak things like this, and it should make decision makers and these full medical staffs that teams have like just try to figure out like what's going on and maybe what could be done differently. Like there's got to be some. It's never going to be a perfect solution. Like that's just like the way it goes in this sport. But I just feel like if it's something related to overuse, like is there something they could do differently in
Play less
practices and off
games.
season? Like, yeah, well, and instead we're getting
Two more.
more games to help keep everything balanced when we reduce preseason because that's like give me 72 regular season games already.
Honestly.
I agree. Because it's like, but the players don't agree with me when I ask them about this, but they're just, I don't know what's up with that because I think they're thinking, and this is what the league tells them when they try to negotiate in the CBA or whatever. Oh, we'll take away your preseason games, but we're just going to go ahead and add them to the regular season.
Right.
So the players, when I ask them, they're thinking in the mentality of, oh, we get less preseason games. Those
100%.
suck. But it's like you
100%.
could have both. You could have
Yeah.
less. I mean, the Stanley Cup Finals are the hardest playoffs to play. I think that's one thing we can all agree on. So it's like, I'd rather have the quality of that. Now you're seeing even the quality of the regular season diminish when it comes to the parity and skating towards overtime. So kind of falling apart over here.
100%. It's like the only thing I think should be preserved in the scheduling is just make sure every team makes it to every arena so that fans can
Hmm.
see every team. But what like we aren't adding teams, but we're adding two more. I don't. I
Well, I mean,
I'm
hey, they want to add games, add teams too, but like
right,
it's
but that's
revenue.
not right. I
It's
know, but
all it's
perhaps we
so
could pursue other ways to make it anyway.
yeah. I mean, everyone wants
Correct.
a play-in tournament, so do 7 versus 8. Do 7, 8, 9, and 10 in a quick wild card series, 3 games. You'll make way more money off those than you would any regular season game and make it a spectacle. Other leagues do it without watering down the playoffs. There's a way to make it work, but it's the NHL and they won't. And now, like, we're talking about adding games in a condensed schedule. I'm going to be even more curious too, coming out of the Olympic break, the players who are cold, who don't go
Or
to the
hurt.
Olympics.
Or
Yeah,
hurt.
like what's going to happen with that? We see it like everyone comes back from a bye week rusty, and obviously that's a lot shorter than this. And how are you going to keep up the tempo of things? It's like it's not like you're going to have training camp drills to keep you going through February.
No, and you can't. I'm pretty sure. Much like who was it, Pete DeBoer, who had the illegal practice during Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that's
All
true.
right, all right,
Maybe
all right.
someone will hire him before the Olympic. No, well, he's going to be an
Well, he's
assistant
yeah,
coach. Yeah,
exactly.
can't even do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, okay, let's move on. Let's move on. This team seems to there many teams are dealing with injuries, but this team seems to have constant injuries, and yet they're currently second in the league. Let's talk about Dallas, that has Tyler Seguin injured on Tuesday and Bischel injured on Sunday, and yet they still, well, they didn't win versus New York, obviously, but in their last 10 they're 7-1-2, and as we record on Wednesday, they are second in the league, as I said, with 39 standings points. I feel like Dallas isn't winning the way they did last year, and maybe they're not getting enough attention, and maybe it's because of those terrible jerseys that I'm probably alone in thinking that. But Sara, how is Dallas doing this when at sometimes they've had an entire side of their defense out of the lineup because they're broken?
Well, Allison, good teams find a way to win. And it goes to show the importance of positional depth at every position. Even Ottinger's not having a great season, right? But they are finding a way because there's so much variety in the way that these guys play. You got your Thomas Harleys, you got your Heiskanens, you got like that on defense and kind of different types of defensemen at different ages. And then you've got Hints, you've got literally like I think about that, and that's not like a key player for me. I know it should be, but oh my God, everybody's underrated, but like that's not my key stars player. So when he emerges, when everybody's injured, like or whoever it is, Wyatt Johnston, if he's struggling, then he's playing better. And Jason Robertson is trying to get to the Olympics, and I think he's going to do it. Like all that matters is kind of you got I mean, Rantanen, what should I do? Just name people? Like they're stacked. I think it's as simple as that, right? They're stacked and they maybe didn't like their old coach. And now it's all coming together.
Shayna, is it addition by subtraction behind the bench, or is it Jim Nill's continued genius, or is it a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, because like the roster is stacked, and obviously Neil did a great job with it, and he bet on players at the right time. Like Wyatt Johnston didn't have a great season last year, and now look at him thrive, and he looks great with Rantanen, which makes a lot of sense. Like right-handed center, like there you go, there's some chemistry, and not panicking and trading Jason Robertson is a big part of it
Yeah,
because
come on.
he's been excellent at 5-on-5. Like you look at the first month of action, the power play was lights out, and it still is absolutely sick. And I know Gultson obviously gets a lot of credit for it, and Neil Graham they brought in as an assistant coach, and he's been killing it too. But the 5-on-5 play lately, and a lot of it's thanks to Roberts and Ranson. Like your big guys are stepping up when you need them to, and I think that's helping. Like everything kind of trickle down the lineup that you're not now throwing some random guy into a massive role. It's a little bit different than say like Tampa Bay, how they've had to handle it, right? Because you're seeing a lot of players have to step up, like JJ Moser's in a bigger role, or then these guys from the AHL. I think the Stars are keeping things steady at the top, and then it's allowing everyone else to like fill in and contribute in a more like reasonable way. So it's all going, and yeah, the coaching. I was not a DeBoer fan, as I've made it clear for many, many, many years. And I think that just getting a different voice and perspective is good because, like, when they started the season, even when you like disregarded the injuries for like 4.2 seconds while you could, it was like, okay, why'd you lose last year? Oh, your 5-on-5 offense dried up. And then it started this year, and it's like, okay, here's the solution. So it does just feel like it's kind of like coming together in the right way for them.
Oh, Dallas, this is why we love you. Let's move on. Again, this is a game I didn't see live because there's also too many games on every day, and there's no in the States easy way to keep up with them. So, Shayna, tell us what happened to Adam Fox. He's out week to week.
Yeah, it was a hit from Hagel on, what was that, Saturday. It looks like I'm not a doctor, but
But
nothing's
I play one
happening
on
again.
TV.
Every week. Like I wasn't sure if it was like shoulder or collarbone, but it looked like it was his shoulder. And that is of all the injuries we're going to talk about, like I would say maybe the most crushing for a team because
Mm.
like you look at some of them, you go, okay, now it's a test. What can you do without this guy? So when they come back, you're so much stronger. And with Adam Fox, it's like, okay, what can you do without this guy? Can you even keep your head above water? It's so different because he's been so good this year, and he's such an interesting player because I think everyone hates him after Four Nations when he's still good. Who knew it? You know, he thinks the game really fast but plays
Ryan
it slow.
Lindgren made him who he is, Shayna.
We love Ryan Lindgren,
I
okay?
know you do.
Um, but no, like I think he just gets hate, I think, because of his playing style. He's not Quinn Hughes, he's not Cale Makar. He plays the game a lot slower. He doesn't have that like explosive speed, but you just see the way he
What a
thinks.
sell. He's not too elite defenseman and he's slower.
Well, because it's, like you do things, you think of those three names at the top, right? And for a little bit, Charlie McAvoy was even there
Zach
too. It's like
Wierenski
it's totally
erasure.
different.
Zach Wierenski erasure.
I mean, big Zach Werenski fan. We had them together, Fox and Werenski, on a tier together to start at like 2A, and everyone was like, no, they're not 2A. They're both bad. And it was like, wait a second. Wait a second. Will not stand for that. But no, like this team is really, 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 really bad in New York. And you see, like they are. And that defense, there really aren't any other puck movers. Like now, Scott Morrow is going to have more of a mainstay role. And that's like one actually good puck mover if he can keep up with the NHL speed and in that environment in particular. And Fox was playing some of the toughest minutes in the league, and he's been crushing it. Him and Gavrikov are so good together. So now it's like, okay, figure it out without him. Good luck.
Sarah, do you have any thoughts on the really, really slow Adam Fox being out of the lineup?
Well, should have never signed with Carolina. Remember all that?
Oh, yeah.
Now,
They
don't
still
give,
boo him in
yeah,
Carolina and
they're
Calgary, and it's so funny.
Listen, I appreciate the
so,
commitment, honestly.
I do too. I feel like John Tavares is always going to get booed on Long Island. That
Right,
one I'm like, as he should. Like
right.
yeah,
the
yeah.
Fox one isn't as malicious, but it's still funny.
It's very good. Sarah, let's shift to again more injuries. Two goaltenders who are out, and I have my thoughts on which one might be more impactful to the team. But Lucas Dostal for the Anaheim Ducks out 2 to 3 months, and Scott Wedgwood leaves the game versus Vancouver with an upper body injury and did not return. So now. Again, it's not just skaters getting hurt, it's goaltenders getting hurt as well. Which of these two, Dostal or Wedgwood, are you more concerned about in terms of impact to the team?
To stall. I think just knowing that the Avalanche have a few more goaltending aces up their sleeve and that they have only, what is it, one regulation loss. I'm not sure if they
Yep.
lost last night, but literally one regulation loss. Like they are fine. They don't, like, I know the Wild are kind of coming up on them, but like not in a severe way. So I think they can afford, maybe it's the whole team chills out for a few games or something and they take a deep breath.
Shayna, which one are you more concerned about?
Joe Style for sure. Because like Wedgwood, this is gonna like force him into a break in a way. And like obviously you don't want him to like lose the stride he was on because he's been so good, but like he was the starter when Blackwood was hurt to start the year and played extra that way. And then he's been so good that he's still been playing a ton. So I think this will allow Blackwood to get into more of a rhythm because they've been rotating so much. And Blackwood essentially got like eased in, so hopefully then you don't see like any other injuries occur because that's been the one issue for him throughout his career. Dostal though has been the guy in Anaheim and their defense, even though like it got a little bit better from like your first stretch of the season. Like it's still has a lot of room for improvement. So this is going to force the team to play differently because not only are you down Dostal, but then Mrazek comes up to back up Huso, and then he gets hurt. So now they're down to what, their fourth and fifth string goaltenders at this point to back up Huso, who isn't the most like he had some, good seasons, but like the most reliable starter for that kind of defense, it's really tricky. But like if they can figure out how to protect their goaltender better. And sometimes like players and teams just do that when a backup's in net or when their starter gets injured because you can't just rely on the fact of like knowing they're going to give you quality saves every single night, which is what Dosal has done for them for a while now. Maybe it can help them like kind of just work on their game a little bit more so then when he's healthy and back, maybe they'll give him 1 ounce of support.
I'm sure their
One crumb.
coaching, one crumb, one slice of rice. I'm sure their coaching will solve everything because I mean, obviously it's so valuable.
Yeah, definitely not the fact that they had
So,
star players that were going to become stars once you freed them from Greg Cronin.
uh,
oh, not too
I
much on my
know, I don't,
man.
I don't want to make fun of Greg
I
Cronin because,
know.
but then again, I think we were both, all three of us were excited for him. Like he's so interesting.
Yeah.
I love everything he's saying, and then that happened, so
Yeah.
he earned this.
all right, let's go off the ice because we've already talked about how insane the schedule is. We've already talked about how there's enough wear and tear on the body, and yet these men cannot seem to get out of their own way when they're off the ice. Alexei Toropchenko is the latest hockey player to have a bizarre injury in that he is week to week after sustaining burns to his legs as part of a home accident. Do we need to issue, in addition to team gear, tracksuits, helmets, gloves, a set of bubble wrap before these guys are allowed to leave the rink? Sara, what are these men doing?
I was gonna say it's like Bubble Boy, that movie where like we gotta start doing that, I guess. I don't know. It's been quite the year for freak accidents. Or maybe it's been quite the year for transparency
Ooh.
because maybe things like this have been happening and not been revealed, but I don't know. Everybody pay more attention to your surroundings.
Shayna, do we need billet families for single hockey players?
Apparently, and like this time of year too, at the holidays, like I feel like injuries for most people are on there. Like how many people get hurt like deep frying a turkey or something like that? That you're like just don't try this at home. I feel like the NHL needs like a nice memo, like do not try anything risky at home. We will send you food, like DoorDash delivery service. We don't know how he sustained these burns, but it sucks too for the player because it's got to be embarrassing. Like this gets announced and then everyone speculates. Like I'm literally doing that, but like everyone speculates like how this happened and
Right.
it's like, oh, this guy must have done this. What an idiot! And it's like, shit happens. Like it's very easy to get burned in your own home. I have done it numerous different ways, different
Yes.
times. I mean, hot tools, cooking things, touching the heater when you're trying to fix something and you touch something you're not supposed to. Like it happens totally. But I also don't make multi-millions on an NHL team, in which case I would just simply not do anything myself. I feel like I don't know. We need handymen at the ready. We need food service delivery. We need
Honestly,
everything.
honestly. All right, our last bit o' news, and multiple people are talking about this, but I am citing the work of Chris Johnston, who we also issue congratulations to. He and his partners, they have announced they're expecting a child, so congrats to them and
Oh,
continued health. Yes, I'm sure
CJ, come
CJ listens to
on.
this
Oh, he's
show.
gonna be a great
Everyone
dad.
listens
I
to this
know
show.
he's
Come
going to
on.
be a great dad. But he is sharing work from Mike Russo, also tremendous of The Athletic, that the Olympic ice surface in Milan is being built to smaller specs than NHL rinks, sparking new concerns. Now, it always feels like, especially the Winter Olympics, like come together with scotch tape and band-aids like the day before something's supposed to happen across the games, like not just hockey. But aside from this controversy, I've legitimately been thinking about this because usually we're talking about the games being played on bigger ice because usually it's international ice. Sara, have you had time to think about if it is truly smaller ice, does this materially impact the kind of hockey we play? And does it help or hurt anybody?
Well, all I can think about is Pete Blackburn's tweet from last night that said, "Oh no, babe, I love your small Olympic rink. The big ones scare me."
So
But
good.
how does he think of this shit? But I remember the what is it? The University of Minnesota. They have an Olympic rink, so any of those got now NHL. Maybe it's because NHL players can now go to the Olympics, so they're not taking everybody from the University of Minnesota. It's my take.
Dana, have you thought at all smaller ice versus bigger ice, what it does to the actual game that we will see played?
Yeah, like I don't think it's as drastic as like years past where it's like every European team and league plays on Olympic ice because we're seeing a little bit more streamlining of it. So, going to NHL sized ice wasn't like some massive advantage for just like one or two teams anymore. But you also look at it and they've done it before. I think it was said in that article actually specifically like they've done it where it's a shorter rink before, but it was wider. So that
Mm,
space is made up somewhere. And with Olympic hockey, it's different than say Four Nations in terms of physicality because it's different rules being played.
right.
But if you're on a smaller surface, that's going to be a lot harder because you're going to be more condensed into a smaller rink. And like I wonder if that affects any roster choices at all, right? Because for some
Mm,
players, it's like, oh, how will they do on the bigger ice if it were to be that? And then on the other hand, you're like, well, if it's more physical and USA needs to be physical, they can't have Jason Robertsons and Cole Caulfields. Like, does that influence decision making at all? Like, does that help tilt the scale more towards a Sam Bennett or a Connor Bedard? Like, I don't know. Um, but I get this whole time that play NHL players were not at the Olympic Games, like the NHL, as wrong as they were for taking it away from some players for all that time, right? Players who were retired or aged out of it and never really got the chance when they should have. And it being for like the petty stuff of like, oh, well, the digital rights and this and that, and they don't really benefit financially. And also their players are going there and getting hurt, like, which is going to happen. These are like the legitimate concerns, right? Because the IOC just can't be trusted to do things right. And with these Olympics in particular, it's already kind of messy with like the different sites and how, you can't just bounce around and everything's spaced out by hours of travel. So, do you want to add another site in there? Like they were saying, potentially playing in Switzerland as a backup. Like, no, you obviously don't want to do that. But I get why the NHL be skeptical of the IOC, and I wonder if this is handled differently in the future. Like, it's not just, oh, we get to check the rinks, but if they're not up to our standards by X date and have it be done, I don't know, on time, like maybe I'm not trying to say the NHL was right by not letting players go to the Olympics, but you can see why the IOC can't be trusted to handle shit properly.
Yes. I think this is all like seriously, like a year from now, this is all going to be very, because how long is this current CBA? I truly don't know. Do you know?
It's until next season. Or like, what do you
Well,
mean?
the new
No,
one
the
starts next
extension.
year.
Yeah, the new one
Yeah,
that
Was it
starts
four
next
or
year.
6 years?
So it'll cover the next Olympics as well.
I
yeah.
think so.
So this is all very interesting. This is going to be fascinating to
Because
watch.
it hasn't happened yet. So it's
Right.
next year for at least
Correct.
4 years. So it'll happen the next one.
But like it's going to be interesting to see too like say there's more injuries because there's less space out there and
Right.
also like players racing down the ice and things like that like they're so conditioned to know the size of the rink. I'm sure that that's going to like create issues like it's going to be if there are injuries how do they occur and how much do the players go okay this is a problem too because they should want the NHL to safeguard them to make sure that everything is up to standards for this even but that as long as it doesn't mean pulling out entirely.
You
See,
know,
I think it's going to be more your original point though. I think it's going to be more of a physical game because there's less space.
yeah.
I think again, we have to give as much as we shit on everything. We have to give these athletes credit because I think they're going to, in terms of skating and like knowing how much space they have, that won't be the biggest issue. I think there's going to be less space and they're going to be hitting each other more. Sarah, would you?
Coaching is going to be huge.
Mm,
Speaking of Greg Cronin, I once talked to him on the phone for an hour and a half and like went completely off the rails. And he was talking about how after the lockout, he was coaching the Islanders penalty kill. And it was like there were new rules about the lines were in different spots, right? Like they came back and it was kind of like this where it's like they had to play in close quarters. And he found this like loophole. Nobody was doing the like key form of a pen or a power play. So he was able to have like the number one penalty kill for like a year. Like it was like out of nowhere just because he like could coach it. So I think like it adds an interesting element of who's going to be good coaches for this
That's a great
situation, who's
point.
clever.
Yeah.
I
And
love
how do
that
you
point.
do it on the fly? Because you don't get a ton of time with like the whole team together practicing on that kind of rink, right? Like I imagine it's only because I know men's hockey doesn't start immediately. Women's hockey starts sooner because men's hockey it ends at the very, very end of the Olympics. So I think they get a couple days in the beginning before the tournament technically starts. So how much practice time are you really going to get on these rinks? Like that's going to be interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Who's head coach? Who is Sullivan head coach of US? I'm so like,
Yeah.
there's too much in my head right now. It's going to be interesting to your point too, Sarah, because both Canada and US have head coaches who are also currently coaching in this league. So where are they finding the bandwidth, to your point, to think about these things?
Well, they both teams have assistants who aren't.
I know, but nonetheless,
Yeah. Peter DeBoer, a master tactician, and Tortorella is
John
also an assistant
Tortorella,
coach. Yeah.
yes,
Can
not a
I
tactician.
not a tactician, but listen, I obviously this is a Pro Torts podcast. We've made that clear before. I feel like watching him on broadcast this year is so different than his first go around. He seems so much more relaxed on camera and much more. I think also everyone around him at ESPN, I think they're better at asking him questions to like get a good answer out of him and
Mm-hmm.
find ways to like, because sometimes you'll see a question he gets asked and he's like excited to answer it. But I wonder just how much he's obviously so involved in the game, watching it, being up to date on everything too. Like, how much is he thinking about that? Like, is he going to be forced into a different role for this? Because he's the one assistant coach, like, not currently as a head coach. You have the time to consider how are you going to handle this ice situation. Like, I'm curious if it forces him into something he's not generally used to doing.
Torts has never done anything he didn't want to do. So
Well, he wants to win.
that's
That's
valid.
the one thing.
That's valid. That's valid. Well, tell you what, Shane, if you can get the Torts merch back up, I'll ask him. We'll ask him and see what he says.
I was gonna go bit of newts first, but you know what? Torts merch
Oh,
it is.
well, or we could do both. Just throwing that out there. Shane's like,
I'm
don't do that to
I'm
me.
writing it down.
Okay. Thank
I'm
you.
like still learning how to use the new site,
I
so
know.
it's a
I
little
know.
slower, but
Torts did
also
say he'd come on the pod. So we do have
we
that in
need
our,
to we got to make that one happen.
I
Pre or
know.
post Olympics, who's to say?
We
I
need
know.
that.
We're gonna
We'll
call him
see.
on the daily.
He'll love
Wait,
that.
let's go with the four-way call. Bombard him.
I want to see if Torch shows up in Columbus for the 25-year anniversary because he hates stuff like that, which I totally get, but it's going to be interesting. I also,
Are you gonna be there for it?
I no, I'm not
Well, I don't
invited.
know. I don't know if it happened to be like on a time where like
No, they're doing stuff like all season. Like they're
oh
having like people come by and like they did the thing with Cam Atkinson and like like David Savard is going back, I guess, sometime soon. But okay, I do have one small Columbus rant, and this is not my bias. Did you guys follow the whole irrelevant thing?
yeah,
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I
unfortunately.
I just want to say Zach Werenski is turning into a baller of a veteran. Like he just shuts shit down without being inflammatory, but with total confidence. However, I now do, in all seriousness, want to call out media because was it yesterday? The Columbus, New Jersey game was the best game on the slate.
Yep.
And I did not start by watching that game. To be clear, I was watching, unfortunately, Winnipeg Buffalo because I love me a John Forsland call. So I will always go there first. But I was watching that game, and what was going on in Columbus, New Jersey, like demanded that I start paying attention. And like yesterday, at least the content I consumed, no one was talking about that game. And that was
Yeah.
arguably like that game has storylines for days and no one was talking about it. Your thoughts? Or am I just on an island, not on the
No,
island?
your thoughts are good because I started with that game and then I think when it was 2-0, like flipped the
Yeah, yeah.
volume basically, and then the stupid Giants started, so I had to lose the TV and I chose them. And then like I went on Twitter for 1 second. I saw your tweet about the penalties because it was already physical by the time I had shut it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, wait, this one's going back on. And yeah, those are two metropolitan teams. And the Blue
Yeah.
Jackets also are more in the playoff race than I think they're getting credit for in the East, especially like when you look at some of the injuries building up for some teams, like Boston has a lot to deal with, and the Islanders too, that it's like, okay, teams we didn't expect to be there, maybe they'll come back down to earth. Someone's going to jump in, and Montreal's goaltending's a mess. Like,
Oh,
don't forget, Columbus was in it last year, and now they have this huge game. They're doing it without Marchenko too, which is massive. And I just don't think they're getting enough credit. It's like they'll get one hypey thing and people will talk about it. Like last year, everyone was talking about Werenski, and at the end, people were like, "Oh, Jet Greaves," and it's like, cool, that's a good start. But also, like, there's a lot more here. In that game, I wouldn't have expected from Columbus as much. Like, I know they have
Right.
Olivier, but like, you don't expect them to be as involved the
Right.
entire game like that. It definitely should have been talked about more. Like, and that's two division rivals, you could say. Like, I know it's like rivals are just thrown out there, but like maybe we'll see more of it. We saw Islanders and Avs, Patrick Roy yelling at the Avs. They play each other. I mean, I'm sorry, Stars twice a fucking year, and we're all like circling the dates they're gonna see each
Exactly.
other again. I want to hear more about okay, Columbus and New Jersey play each other this day, just like
New Year's
and
Eve,
Yeah.
apparently.
on a swamped New Year's Eve.
Sarah, were
But
you able
that's
to, did
fun.
you see this game? Like, I get, like, and
No.
then, like, when I, God bless Halford and Bruff, like, they couldn't even say Voronkov correctly. Like, I just was annoyed because I feel like you can say a team's irrelevant, but like, also, you're not being true to what's going on in the game because that was truly the most entertaining game
Here's
on.
the thing, it's irrelevant. Like, in the grand scheme of sports, I will say, like, I understand what Bill Simmons was saying, and he was
100%.
asked the question, right? But it's
100%.
because of the NHL. It's not a function of the Columbus Blue Jackets or their entertainment value. And you are absolutely right. It is exactly what Shayna was saying, where it's like, can we promote the context of this game? I didn't watch it. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of games on day by day, and I just have been watching the NBA recently. I'm so sorry. Like, I know, I just want to be honest with my audience because
Yeah.
it really is like it seems like and feels like a chore to watch the NHL this season. And I have just been watching, even though my Celtics suck. I'm like at the game screaming. I'm like, I'm having fun. I don't know. Like, at least there's like, I don't know what to say about that. I guess it's just my own rant. But like, I think it's overwhelming and underwhelming at the same time when it comes to it's just like I saw this really good term to describe it's like horseshoe radicalization. I don't know exactly what to say about it, but it's how internet slop has kind of added into like the media that we consume, where it feels like
Mm.
almost entropy, where it's collapsing on itself. And like, I don't know, I'm not having like a well hashed out thought. Maybe I should substack about this, but it is feeling overwhelming to watch this sport for whatever reason. And I
Yeah.
like I like Orensky's response to that, and because it doesn't matter that Bill Simmons said, like, who gives a fuck? To be frank, like, who cares? Not me.
Not
But
Frank, Bill.
yeah,
Just kidding.
yeah,
Also with like you saying, basketball too is like an entertaining sport. I feel like they've always gotten the credit for being an entertaining sport over hockey. To me, it's more
Mhm.
shocking that it's like I think baseball's been more exciting than, and I love
honestly,
baseball
honestly,
on any given day. I do love baseball, but like you're gonna put hockey versus baseball, I'm gonna pick hockey every single day. But like the playoffs and everything like that to go from that, and my team was out, right? Like so early into the NHL season, my team's gone, and I'm still locked into postseason baseball and like the energy and how electric it felt to go to a hockey game on a random Wednesday night. I'm like, I don't give a shit. And it was very hard to give a shit this year for a million reasons, but like that entertainment factor wasn't there. Now you have it. And I feel
yeah.
like we see all these random games get pumped up when there's nothing there. Here's your chance, right? Like Sunday night afternoon. Sorry, it was like 5 o'clock start, I think, and it was afternoon for them. But it was Anaheim against Chicago, and I
Oh,
felt
that
like
was a
that one.
great game.
That was excellent. And it was funny, like, I like to go ahead in the schedule and I go, these are the ones I want to watch. And it was one that I'm like, okay, football's on, but if I can clear the space, like, that's one I want to have my eye on. I wish we saw this is Leo Carlson, all around superstar, taking that leap next this year versus Connor Bedard, elite goal scorer, who is that guy finally, and just go, yes, it's two marquee names, and it's different from saying, oh, the
And
physical.
Spencer Knight lets in too early and then they come back all the way to win. Like
What a
insane.
game. And they play each other again this upcoming Sunday. Then I'm like, I'm going to be locked in for that. Like, I'm excited now. These are two Western Conference teams. They're both surprisingly in the playoff picture. Like, there's something there. Blue Jackets Devils has something there. These are two
Right.
teams in the same division fighting for playoff spots. Like, it's a shorthanded Devils team. It gives the Blue Jackets an opening. There's a way to do it. I don't know. You could even say Luke Hughes versus Zach Werenski and make it interesting.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like, I don't mind saying going into the slate that like because respectfully, I watched Chicago Anaheim because it was like the only game on at
Yeah.
that time. But retroactively, when a game gives you a story, that's where I'm frustrated, is that we as a collective are not doing a good job at actually watching what stories are coming out of the games and what we're being given. Right.
Yeah.
Because again, like, excuse me, on Monday, I was like, well, clearly Winnipeg Buffalo is going to be more interesting. I'm interested in Winnipeg without Hellebuck. Again, a John Forson call. But the other game told me it was more interesting and I was fascinated by it. And now I want to see what happens on New Year's Eve and I don't even care. It's like on the other side of the country, literally. But we are not doing a good job. Sara, I love what you said. The schedule is overwhelming and underwhelming at the same time. It's underwhelming because there's too much happening and we're not doing a good job at actually finding the stuff that is interesting to tell the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad job of like consolidating the information.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that was, sorry, I took us
No, I think
off
that's a
course.
good direction. It's a good
really
direction.
what I've been thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
this is exactly what I've been thinking about, and it makes me feel bad because I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard. It's my job, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm like, I need to make myself care about it. I asked my friend
No, yeah.
Chelsea how I should start. She's like, you got to start gambling again. I'm like, fuck, you're right.
It's a way that fantasy hockey, like it's a way to make you care.
Yeah.
But even just like there's no shame in starting by watching one game and then you scroll through Twitter during a commercial intermission, something like that, and it's like Greg Wyshynski is saying, "Oh my God, you have to tune in to, you know, I don't know, what was a good late game last night?
Obviously a great game.
Oh, like Wild against the Oilers to me was like one of the more
yeah.
interesting
And
like
it
later
with
games.
1-0.
Yeah, like I want to see what Wallsted's doing against the Oilers, and now it's Stuart Skinner coming off a good game. Like, what's he gonna do here too? So it's like if someone tweets that, like, and you're watching stuff like I had on Canucks Avs, and it wasn't as interesting, and I didn't really expect this week.
Shocking.
You know, I'm like, it was that reminder of like, oh shit, I wanted to watch this game, or oh, that one looks good. Like, there's no shame in switching games because of that, or not. It's not, it doesn't, everything doesn't have to be your own idea, but that's why it's nice. Like, there are so many people out there, and I think we all try to do it, and Pete Blackburn does it, just being like, wow, this game is something. Like, it's a good reason to jump over to it. And the more people do that, I think the better. And sometimes, oh, I can't believe you're watching this and not that. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this to be entertained for the most part, right? Like if you're
That's
writing
the theory.
in theory, if you're writing something about like I had to watch Nashville. I didn't watch Nashville because I'm working on something about the Predators. I'm not watching them live, but then I'm like, I will go back and watch them afterwards because there's more exciting stuff on. But like if you don't know what to watch, maybe just like get that vibe check from other people of what to do. And that's like we all need to do a good job of that to be like, hey, it's interesting. That's how you grow the game. Like if you're the NHL's account and you see something happening like Blue Jackets Devils,
Well, but that's the point. Do
starts
you
early.
see something
Go.
happening? Like, and that's on not just the NHL account. That's a lot of people. Like, I just can't believe that game got no shot because it was even like your old school hockey men, like that had stuff for you. Like it was, I don't know. Sara, you know what you need to get reinvigorated? You need to go to a Boston Fleet game and get one of those sailor
You're
hats.
right. No, you're genuinely right. Like, I need to start watching more of them and care about that.
We are going to be bringing P-Dub coverage into the pod, folks. So we're coming back. I'm just, we are recording on Wednesday. I'm going to see New York live tonight and I can't wait. I'm a little terrified, but I can't wait to see them. All right. Unfortunately, we are back with an entrant, a repeat offender, literally, on the shit list. And first and foremost, and Sara, I know you retweeted this, Shayna, I apologize. I didn't see if you did as well, but we'll put this in the show notes. There's a really important piece, well done, on sinbin.vegas, a site that covers the Vegas Golden Knights that talks about context on, ironically, as we just talked about, on hockey, loving hockey, supporting hockey, and what's going on with the Hockey Canada trial and Carter Hart. Strongly recommend that you take the time to read that if you haven't already. It's really important and thoughtful. I've read it a couple times, but I'm just going to say respectfully, if you ever want to come to me and say, oh, but these accusations will destroy people's careers. Yesterday, Carter Hart gets the start in Vegas, does get a post-regulation win 4-3. And Cal Foote, another member of the Canada Five who went through trial, signs in the AHL. When asked prior to his start, Carter Hart shockingly didn't have specifics on ways that he's trying to better himself, even though he hasn't been playing hockey for a long time. Sara, I'm going to start with you because, again, I know you retweeted that article from Sinbin, but just it's just so frustrating. And, there's a lot in that article about understanding consent. And it's just to realize how many people have never been in a position of not holding all the power or understanding what having people have power over you feels like and can mean. And, I've been thinking of ways to try and dumb it down. Just because I go into a restaurant and order fries doesn't mean I want everything on the menu. And that article offers some really important points about what should have been considered in that situation. Just your thoughts on wherever you want to go with this, the article, the fact that these two players are now back playing and getting paid to do so, wherever you want to take it.
I love your patience with trying to dumb it down, but I don't think people that, for the most part, people that loudly don't get it are being genuine. I think there's no amount of explaining you could do to them if they don't want to see the perspective, probably because they know people that have crossed a line and that's our brothers, sons, whatever. But it's still important. I think it's still very important to describe specifically what consent is and what consent isn't. So if people who genuinely didn't know before and maybe crossed a line can see that it's more ambiguous than you might think, and it doesn't mean, I don't know, like, how do we reconcile with upholding and trying to change the consent laws to being what consent actually is, to the fact that maybe people that have changed since then or whatever. But I guess that's a different story for a different day that psychologists and experts need to talk about. I will talk about hockey culture and that why would Carter Hart better himself? He doesn't need to. He's back, baby. And he's winning in a shootout again. Gets that fucking winning point for what? He scored an own goal. He got a penalty. Like, didn't have to serve it. He got a penalty, didn't have to serve
What
it.
a metaphor.
Wow.
What a
How about
metaphor.
that one? So, he tripped somebody. It doesn't matter. No repercussions. It's so insulting, and it's by design, right? It's not, how do they keep doing this? How do we keep asking these players that have been needing to do rehabilitation what they've done and they don't say anything? It's because the message from the team and the message from the league is you didn't have to. You don't have to do anything. And he's being welcomed back as if he was like a war veteran or was coming back. He was like, the broadcast sounded like, I saw clips from it and I saw our male colleagues, shout out to Mike Bartner and Dom Lucian for kind of going back and forth about this. Mike was saying they're making him sound like Gabe Landeskog out there, like they're really being, and they're doing overtime. They were like counting up his saves and stuff, and it was like so transparent. It's like I understand being on a broadcast and needing to be neutral about this, but it seemed like what I saw, it went a few steps above.
Yeah, I've seen, even when the original signing happened, and I'm not going to name names here because I haven't had conversations with these people directly, but I've seen people who have really big platforms, even on radio, say things like, I don't want to hear about it. The trial's over. He's allowed to be signed. And you're showing your asses a little bit.
Yes.
But Shayna, your thoughts on this whole situation?
I would give commentators more credit for fumbling through this than taking such a stance, like whatever the fuck last night was, honestly, because
I refuse to watch, respectfully.
So
Me too. I saw the clips,
did
so
not.
shame.
I saw the highlights. Didn't want to give it a view, and it's because that was a game too. Like I wanted to watch. That was when I'm like, I'm very interested in this. Instead, I watched Capitals Kings, which was not very exciting, but I had to have something on.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing because I feel like we do this again and again and again, and it's like, where is the line? We're just good welcoming back Quenville. We're not allowed to talk about that. We're just good welcoming back Carter Hart. We can't talk about. Why not? Why not? Because there's so many things people are willing to talk about, but it's like, I get it. This is a challenging situation. And we're idiots. We're idiots who cover hockey at the end of the day. I'm fucking sorry. We are not rocket scientists. We're
100%.
all morons. Okay? And that's fine. And we're not trained to know how to perfectly navigate a situation like this. But you can also be a decent human being, right?
Hmm.
You don't have to cheer for this guy off the bat. That article, it says it like just because they're acquitted morally, it's not the same thing. Okay.
Right.
This is a legal settlement, right?
Right.
This is not, okay, it means they didn't do it. The trial was a circus.
It
There was
was
so
really.
much coverage, yeah, talking about what went wrong with it. And
Hmm.
even when you heard these things and things are being proven in court and text messages are being read out, there's no denying that it's in fine print that that happened too. So I don't have an issue with Carter Hart being questioned about this because at the end of the, I'm not saying if you ever make a mistake, you can't come back to the NHL, right? That's not the point. But if you're going to be an NHL player, not a scrub in the ECHL, not playing over in the KHL, the NHL, the top league, I say it all the time. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but it is a privilege to be a part of this league. And to have the opportunity to come back is an even greater privilege. And it just doesn't get treated that way, right? There are 32 starting goaltenders in the NHL. There's 64 that get to be on an NHL roster unless the team goes with a three goalie system. That's a privilege. And he hasn't played in years. Nobody knows if he's going to be any good. And we're all
Right.
pretending like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread because he's so strong for coming back. Like that's bullshit. And to not ask him about it is doing the wrong thing. Okay, it's the same thing as Joel Quenneville coming back saying, I'm doing all the work," which Hart claim they all said, "Oh, he's going to do the work." Okay, he's been in Vegas now, I think, since October. Yes,
Mhm.
he's focused on the on ice elements of his career. He has to be, obviously, with time away from the rink and all of that. I wonder why he was away from the job for so long. But you ask what you're doing in addition to it because we as humans have bandwidth to do multiple things. And when you're a part of an NHL organization, you actually have the means to do these things if you really wanted to. I think Vegas should have, I don't know, I don't want to say media trained him better, but maybe prepared him better by having him do things
Yeah,
and
the
being
energy
ready
was
to speak about it.
awful on the availability. Bad, bad,
Yeah,
bad.
it just instead they have a bad rep for what they've done with it, right? Like Mark Lazarus was asked about this and didn't his credentials get pulled for a game? Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, and then it was Blackhawks again. That was his debut, so they can't
yeah.
get enough of Laz.
Yeah.
So if you're doing something you're fine with as an organization, then
Well,
you need to be
ownership
better
still
prepared
hasn't
for it.
spoken about this, right? Management and ownership still has not spoken
And
about
I
this.
think the NHL saying these players are cleared to return kind of gave them the space to not have to talk about it, which again, still bullshit in my book. But I don't have a problem with that. What work have you done specifically? You've had 2 months to think about this. You know you're coming back to the NHL and you're going to face the media constantly. What have you done? And it's not just check these boxes so it looks like you're doing something. Like you should be grateful you get this opportunity, right, wrong, or sideways. Even if you believe you did nothing wrong, you can still put in the work. These players make millions of dollars. Do something.
Well,
Do
and you
something with it.
you to everyone's point, you either have to want to do something or you have to be told that you have to do something as a condition of your employment. And if
Both should have
neither of
happened
those,
here.
I don't disagree, but I think again it's a perfect storm that neither happened. And that's but again, if one more person, and again, these are the internet trolls and whatever, and it's cute because I just mute you and so you're screaming into the void. So please keep coming at me. I never see it. Who keep saying, "Oh, this will ruin his career." Please stop.
Yeah.
Stop. All right. So yeah, if you haven't, please read the Sin Bin article. Again, it's a very thoughtful, it's not just condemning him, but it's talking about things that we should be thinking about in these situations that are far more important than any sport, any game, any team. Let's end with a little quick bit of hockey talk. I'm going to ask you guys real quickly. I'm going to tell you two teams that we might want to be worried about, and you get to tell me which one you're more worried about. One of them is the Vancouver Canucks, who currently sit in 30th in the league. They are 2-6-2 in their last 10 games. There apparently is a secret, not so secret memo that they may potentially be open for business, but no one's confirming who or exactly what that means. Everyone's trying to figure out where Quinn Hughes wants to go or if he's even trying anymore. And then on the other end of things, we have shockingly in 26th position in the league, 4-6-0 in their last 10, the Winnipeg Jets, who are without Connor Hellebuck, as we've talked about. But if you were paying attention, even before Connor Hellebuck, goaltender extraordinaire, left their lineup, have been covering up some massive defensive woes exacerbated by most recently Buffalo? Question mark. Sara, who are you more worried about, Vancouver or Buffalo? Like Vancouver or Winnipeg, excuse me.
Oh, I'm like, well, I mean, Vancouver, because they don't have Connor Hellebuck and their goaltending situation is far more precarious, and because they have a star potentially on the run.
Yeah.
Like, now we're wondering what Quinn Hughes is going to do. He's definitely fed up. It's just kind of been a shit show for so long. So I'm more worried about them.
Shayna?
Yeah, I'm definitely worried about the Jets because like you look at October and their 5-on-5 numbers were terrible. And it was on both ends. They had a great shooting percentage. Like that's great, wonderful. Then they get Lowry and Sandberg back, and you're like, okay, they'll help right the ship defensively. They're two of their
Right.
best defensive players, right? Two of the best shutdown players in the league. And but they're going to get back to full strength eventually, unless more freak injuries keep happening in this league. So they'll have the time, I think, to like look at their lineup and say, okay, what do they need to do at the deadline? And they actually have some assets they can move. It's not like they're a team that's like so strained they can't do anything. If management generally isn't super aggressive, but like they could be if they wanted to fix things. The Canucks, oh, I love the Canucks so much. I love Jim Rutherford so much. Please, you rock, never change. Um, that situation is great for us. It's a disaster though, because the roster was flawed at the end of last season. They made it more flawed in the off season, and now you have the Quinn Hughes situation. If it wasn't for Quinn Hughes, I would be more worried about the Jets because I'd be like, the Canucks just had unrealistic expectations for themselves. They're not good. It's okay. There are a lot of teams around the league that show you can retool if you do it at the right time. You can do it very quickly, or you can rebuild. And look, sometimes rebuilds work, but instead, the constant like, well, rebuilds don't work because it didn't work for the Buffalo Sabres. And it's like rebuilds don't work if you don't have the vision and the commitment to them. And now you have a superstar player who honestly, it probably is in their best interest to move a year and a half of Quinn Hughes if teams have enough to go from like start it sooner and listen to offers. It never hurts to listen to offers, even if you have no intention of moving him, just to see what your options are. But I don't trust them to navigate this situation properly. I mean, even like you look at the JT Miller return, and immediately they start flipping the assets right. And like I like
Well,
Marcus
JT
Pettersson.
Miller is working out so well.
I mean that, but like they immediately that same night make another trade straight for Marcus Pettersson. Who was he a fit for them? Absolutely. But it's like for where this team currently is, I feel like they just don't make the right moves for their timeline consistently.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And I don't trust them to start now.
Well, and they're trying to make moves in an off season and a season where with the cap going up, like there's just not like the only thing I'll say in their defense is in all seriousness, there haven't been that many moves for them to make. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but like acquiring a Vander Kane at full price and being
well,
like
now that
and
I did,
playing
yeah.
him a
Come
ton,
on.
you're like,
Yeah,
all right, guys.
that's valid.
It like listen, because free agency is so terrible and there's literally no one left. If you're gonna have a superstar to trade, like you really could squeeze other teams. Like they could
Yeah.
do something with the return for Quinn Hughes that could help them kickstart a rebuild better than anything. Right? Because sometimes it's like, well, you can't get rid of that guy, and it's like, but if you do, that could be the key to all of this. But do you trust them to do the right thing of all teams? No.
I have no idea like what to do with them. I really don't. Like, I think it's equally damning to trade him and to not. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it,
100%.
it's like, why would you, but why wouldn't you? Because where do you even go from here? But that's just, everybody needs to, it's such a failure from, and this has been management after management group. So it's a failure of ownership at this point, and that
Oh
guy's a
yeah.
mess as it is. So,
It's going to be interesting. It's not the same circumstance, but when Columbus traded Rick Nash, that was supposed to be the death knell. And that was actually the beginning of the most successful iteration of the team that existed so far. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, on that vein, we finish with everyone's favorite game, except for Stephen and John. And that game is Fuck, Marry, Kill. And Sara, as is tradition, you are up first. Here is our topic this week: expected contenders who are missing the playoffs. So when you fuck, marry, kill, you're going to marry the contender you think is most likely to miss the playoffs.
okay.
Your contestants are Toronto, Edmonton, and our beloved Winnipeg Jets. Go on ahead.
God, this is hard because you would never conceptualize like any of these teams not being in the playoffs last year. It's really based on context, I guess. I'm gonna say marry the Leafs. It's hard because based on the context, they'd have the best chance of getting in because they're in the worst in Atlantic, but they keep being bad. So I really don't know what to say about that. You know what? No, I'm not going to marry them, actually. I'm going to marry the Jets because they're in a tough division. They look really bad at 5-on-5, like Shayna said, and they don't fucking do jack all when it comes to the trade deadline, and they don't have that much room for improvement right now. I'm going to fuck the Leafs. I think they can improve when they get help to replace Marner, which, and that's always been like they couldn't do much on the offseason, but we got to see what they're capable of. Everybody knows their hands are kind of tied, so I'm going to see how other teams kind of try to finesse them at the deadline. But Wool's back, so if Tanev comes back, it's kind of like there's a lot of injuries there, and well, I guess I'm going to marry the Oilers, even though it's just
You
like I
married
don't trust.
Winnipeg.
Oh, wait. No, I meant I believe the Oilers have the highest chance to get in the playoffs because it's Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and there could be another goalie. Their defense has just been just completely atrocious. But then again, it's Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and I don't trust the Kings.
Shayna, go.
Okay, I'm gonna kill the Oilers because again, I think they're gonna make the playoffs too. The Pacific Division is a little weaker. See a lot of loser points going around the Pacific, and the Oilers have had bad starts before and been fine, honestly. So it's like they're getting healthier. McDavid still McDavid, Draisaitl still Draisaitl. It's just what are they going to do this year to make what's going to be different from the last couple of seasons, right? You have a bad start. What do you do to manage it differently? And they haven't done enough before, but now it's like, okay, well, they acquired Jake Wallman, they got him for 2 years. You don't really need to worry about that now. Okay, what can you do differently here? Can you address the forwards a little bit better? Can you, I don't know, distribute the cap a little better instead of handing 8 years to Trent Frederick off the bat? Like, what's going to happen here? So, Connor McDavid's not missing the playoffs, and I'm going to be upset if he does because you love the Oilers or hate them. They're entertaining in the postseason no matter what happens. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna agree on all of them then. So I'll fuck the Leafs. Do I want them to miss the playoffs? I, I just want to be entertained, and they bore me. They're
Come on
slow.
now.
There's so many injuries, but like their playing style is so slow. But like the Eastern Conference is so close that I think that there's still like leeway to jump up with a couple of good wins. Like it's not like it's as dire as it could be. It just looks it on certain days when you look at the standings because there's like 10 points separating first from last in the East. Like it's just it is what it is. But like I just want to see this situation evolve. Like I want to see them get to that brink of actually missing the playoffs and then see what they do to sink or swim. I need it to get more dramatic. And I'll marry the Jets because management generally isn't aggressive enough. There are roster holes. Even if they get to the playoffs, like let's be real, when you see the way the Wild have turned things around, how the Stars look, and how the Avs look, I don't like their chances. Like I feel like they could play this really smart if they can't figure it out 5-on-5 before Hellenbuck's back. Because if they can, then I think it's a totally different situation, right? Of like, are you a good enough team? But like maybe you do step back and just prepare for next year if you're the Jets at this point, which is tough because you look at like the ages of some of their best players. Like I don't know if that's the smartest move, but I just don't think they're on the right path. And the Central's so tough, so it already feels like now you're stuck in the wild card. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I will make this the too many men hat trick. I agree. And I think that the reason I agree on Winnipeg in particular is your last point, Shayna, is that we had this whole narrative of nobody pays attention to Winnipeg, and then look at what they do, and they get into the playoffs, and then if it's Hellebuck's not going, then that's the problem. And I think to your point, they've ignored some issues in terms of the skaters in front of him, and with him being out, even before when he was in, there were some holes, there were some concerns. But getting into the playoffs has allowed them to kind of ignore that and say, oh, well, next year we just have to be better. And just Hellebuck just has to be better. And I think that them not making the playoffs could help them really look at what they need to do to become a true contender, because you don't want to waste Kyle Connor. You don't want to waste Connor Hellebuck long term. And so I think I say this because I think it would suit them better down the road. All right, my friends, that will do it for this episode of Too Many Men. We are so happy to be back after the Thanksgiving break. Y'all, you're getting this on Thursday. That's Sara Civian's birthday. Please, please, please make sure that you celebrate her. You wish her a happy birthday, however you see fit. You can do that on social media, either through her account directly or through any of our socials. On Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, we are at @2_much_man. On Blue Sky, we are at @2_much_man. So many punctuation marks. Don't forget that we have a new merch site that Shayna will be adding to soon. It's tooManyMen.printful.me. Do your holiday shopping. Make people realize that this little fun show is out there. I actually was at the rink yesterday and I walked by a camera crew that I didn't know anyone there. I don't think they knew me. I was wearing my Too Many Men hat. And one of the crew members looked at me because it was really crowded. And he goes, "There's definitely too many men around here." So why not spread the gospel? And if you don't want to spread the Too Many Men gospel, the even more important message to put out into the world is what we ask you guys to do, which is please to do something, no matter how big or small, to make sure that hockey truly, truly is a safe place for everyone. We will talk to you soon.
Love you.
Bye.